Hello, I'm Phil Svitek, 360 Creative Coach, and there is a quote by Marshall McLuhan that I absolutely love. And it goes, "I don't know who invented water, but it wasn't the fish." Seems rather banal in that sense, but there's a lot we can extract from it. But before I fully dive into what that is, allow me to invite you to subscribe if you haven't already. That way you get all the various lessons and episodes that I put out right when I put them out. Thank you if you just did, and thank you if you already were. It truly does mean a lot to me, as I hope it does to you. So, let's get into this, right? What it means is that a fish cannot differentiate its environment in that way because it is part of that environment, right? And so what it points to is the notion that in order to observe something, you have to be a little bit on the outside of it, right? And I think as artists, we naturally tend to have that trait within us. We observe the world and try to interpret it and whatever other verbs you want to throw at it through our art, right? We try to compartmentalize it, understand it, showcase it, deconstruct it, all that stuff, right? Whether through movies, songs, books, paintings, photography, poetry, performance art, doesn't matter. All that stuff, right? And when you really think about that, it is very important to continue to be aware of that and to build up that muscle, that skill, so that way our art has that truth and resonance with people, right? There's a recent movie called Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. And it's a fantastic movie. If you're a fan of Mr. Rogers, this will be sort of up your alley. But what I love about it is that the main character is literally this character of Marcel, who's a shell with shoes on. And it's the real world, but given that he's a shell, he sees it in a new way, right? And gives us a new perspective. So it's in essence, from that perspective, it's like we're the fish and Marcel is identifying the water for us in our natural environments, right? As the character. And to me, that is just something so poetic about what art can do. And so we have to get outside of ourselves and see those things. Now, the thing of that is also, in order to be the best versions of ourselves, we need some perspectives about ourselves. That's why things like therapy are fantastic, having friends that can call us out on certain things or just provide us with devil's advocate or something like that, right? Just having outside interactions in general, right? Having us consuming art, right? Movies, books, music, and so forth. They allow for all these things. Even now, just in my own life, as a quick anecdote, I'm reading Salman Rushdie's Midnight's Children, which is not really a historical fiction, but there's enough actual history tied into the narrative of the story about the history of India post World War II, and it's fascinating to see. And not even, even if that wasn't a part of it, it's great in terms of the writing style and just the culture of India in general and giving me all these new perspectives, right? And so, boiled down, it's both, we need to sort of, as artists, strive to create that, as well as we need to inhale that within us, right? Through all these forms that I've been mentioning, and then others that I'm probably not, right? In fact, I know I'm not. And And I think for me, therapy has been a foundational pillar of that, to become more self-aware, to figure out whatever limiting beliefs I may have, to overcome them and to unlock myself, and then be able to express that through art and the characters that I write about in my books and, movies and so forth, right? So that to me is like what the altruistic version of extracting that quote really comes down to. And I hope that aligns with you, because I think it is really beautiful. And yeah, I mean, just consider too, like when you've had a certain epiphany in your life, right? When just something clicks and you're like, oh, wow. And it's like earth shattering for you, and you won't see the world ever the same way again. Isn't that a beautiful feeling? And that's what I think the quote is hinting at. But again, it's a practice we can cultivate. So to do that, we have to be aware that we have to get outside of ourselves, and then we can express that in our art, right? So very cyclical and beautifully expressed. So yeah, as I said, I hope that resonates. I hope it helps. As always, if you have any thoughts or questions of your own, please comment down below or hit me up on social media at Svitek. Would love to hear your thoughts on this subject matter. Likewise, if you appreciate what I do and think you might benefit from more direct interaction, I have my coaching that is available to you. That's linked to down in the description box. If that is too steep a price at the moment, well, that's what my Patreon was designed for. Patreon.com/PhilSvitek. There's various tiers of support, and within that you get various bonuses and interactions with me. So I would look forward to that. Likewise, if you just want to support what I do, well, there's my books, my movies, my merchandise, all that is available to you, and supporting that stuff does help support this, because by getting to create the art that I do, I learn the lessons that I then get to share freely right here with you. So it's very symbiotic in that way. All of that, as I said, is linked to down in the description box. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time.